Hi, hello everyone, I'm Kwai Zero Lao Gaoliki. Hey, what are you holding?
It's an anti-foot picking device.
Well, I should have an anti-scratching device to stand up. Today, let's discuss one of the most challenging questions in the scientific community, which is the origin of language. According to statistics, there are currently over 6,000 languages worldwide. For a long time, biologists, anthropologists, historians, archaeologists, neurologists, and theologians have been researching where human language originated from. What was the earliest language? So, there's no conclusion yet. It's known as the toughest problem in science, with many proposing different ideas. Today, I'll share a few. Some suggest language evolved from calls, meaning early humans, like animals, could only make calls. Over time, these calls became a form of communication. Sometimes when someone talks to me, it feels like they're having a conversation with me. The parts of the human brain used for vocalizations and language are different. Language is controlled by a specific area of the brain. However, vocalizations are more like reflexes, and this is what the scientists discovered. The thing about calls is that they are all real. In nature, when animals make certain calls, they are all genuine. The sounds produced out of necessity, such as laughter or the expression of pain, differ for humans because humans possess subjective intentions. In contrast, the vocalizations of animals lack subjective intentions. In contrast, language is not like that. Language involves subjective intention, which means it can potentially be false. Such a thing cannot survive in nature. That is to say, the first two people who spoke in this world had to believe that what the other person said was true for them to continue communicating and for the language to be passed down through generations. If human beings find it challenging to endure in such a severe and unforgiving natural environment, under the condition of needing to safeguard themselves, they would likely not trust what others communicate. Scientists have discovered that there is a language center in the human brain, which means that humans have the ability to speak. However, there is something peculiar. Even though people have the ability to speak, if a child is not spoken to from birth, they will never learn to speak in their lifetime. So if we trace it back, who taught the first person in the world to speak? Oh, this is like asking which came first, the chicken or the egg.
The challenge is that both individuals are very eager to communicate.
And then some scales were established gradually.
It turned into a situation where a language suddenly emerged between them, and they trusted one another.
Yes, they believe it, but why? Maybe.
Couples indeed. Concerning this particular issue, some individuals have put forth an alternative hypothesis, suggesting that language may have originated within familial units. In the earliest times, as we just mentioned, in the natural world, we all needed to protect ourselves, so we wouldn't trust others. Therefore, the foundation for the development of language didn't exist. However, if it was between a mother and child or within a family, this basis of trust was present. The foundation for language development was set. Some speculate that the earliest language began within families for internal communication. We collaborated, avoided disasters, and moved together, creating a signal-like feeling. This signal wasn't meant for outsiders. If others knew, it could endanger us, right? This also explains why there are so many languages today. The situation is that we speak this way so that others cannot understand. However, this idea has faced a lot of opposition. For instance, we all speak Chinese, and even though we are not from the same family, we all speak Chinese. So how did this language spread beyond the family? A multitude of animals demonstrate analogous familial structures. However, they have not developed an advanced language system. Nor did they create family signals. Also, people found that language over time becomes more complex.
The simpler it gets, Chinese is not only Chinese.
All literary languages are similar.
And there's also that thing of mine, right?
Xiaomo is studying Old English, you know. Although they are written by you, this is his final thesis which I wrote, I have also studied Old English, and Old English is like this. If you look at it from the perspective of modern English structure, it was too complex back then. What does this indicate? It suggests that ancient people were actually smarter than modern people. Because they had to master such complex grammar and such a complex language, their thought structure itself had to be complex. Therefore, by this reasoning, the first person in the world who could speak was quite intelligent, which somewhat contradicts our current research on human development history. Humans believe that people are getting smarter. However, from the perspective of language structure, it's quite the opposite. On September 12, 2016, a very authoritative American magazine published an article about a research team that conducted a study on the sounds of 3,700 languages around the world. They selected 100 basic words from these 3,700 languages. What are basic words? They are words that exist in every language, such as water and fire. Sound. Words like person, you, me, him, etc. were chosen. After analyzing their pronunciation in 3,700 languages with software, it was found that words that share the same meaning frequently exhibit similar pronunciations across an extensive range of over 3,700 languages indeed. For instance, in the English language, the term for sand is denoted as sai. In Chinese, it's sha. They all possess this particular sai sound.
Pronounce.
The sound in Japanese is called suna, right? People from different places have this pronunciation, even though their languages are completely different. Why do they all have this particular sound? This sentence is strange, which means that human languages very likely have a common ancestor. Another more obvious example is onomatopoeia, like meow. For us cat people, meow is present, and this meow sound exists. Other languages are similar too.
Unfortunately, no, it is not the Japanese language.
Regarding the Japanese language, it is indeed the sole exception. The sound a cat makes is not meow, but instead meow. That's its name. Now, molecular biology research has discovered that humans have a common ancestor originating from Africa, which is called the out of Africa theory. In the past, this theory was believed by many people. They thought it was incorrect, believing people in this part of China came from various places and were all Peking man. You're from Africa, and it's your origin. Molecular biology found through DNA studies that everyone globally shares a common ancestor in Africa. So,
how did the African apes come to the various continents?
it is believed that approximately 50,000 years ago, they resided in Africa. Some among them did not wish to remain in Africa, so they embarked on a migration, journeying to Europe, Asia, the Americas, and subsequently to Oceania. How did they manage to reach Oceania? I'm not entirely certain about that, but perhaps they drifted there. Given how early it was in history, they probably didn't travel by boat. They most likely drifted.
Even if you progress by tens of thousands of years, it still isn't that simple, and it's not very far.
You embark on a journey, starting from Hainan Island, which is situated in China, and proceed to traverse through the Philippines, Malaysia, and Indonesia. Well, maybe we could swim to Oceania in one go, but I'm not sure about the specifics.
Do you know if it's possible to go through an underground tunnel? It's possible.
We might venture underground, or maybe there was a mother continent in the vast Pacific, hinting at future possibilities.
Maybe they were on one big continent before? Yes, some say it's due to tectonic plates moving.
Oceania moved away, and before it moved, humans had already reached there. So if humans originated from Africa, then where did the language originate? Some say it should have been in Africa, and at that time, there was already language. Later on, these people all carried a similar language. When they arrived in different places, they adapted it based on their living environment. This resulted in the formation of their distinct culture and language, yet I believe it is quite challenging. Sure, for instance, picture a language from the English system reaching China and evolving into pictographic characters. This, whether it's regression or evolution, is beyond understanding. In the Bible, there exists a chapter known as Genesis. Are you familiar with chapter 11 within this Genesis? Verses 5 through 7 document that the world initially communicated using a single language. So all the people of the world were very united, and they wanted to build a tall tower, one that would reach all the way to the heavens. As a result, God became angry and decided that this tower should not be completed. Therefore, he confused human language, making it so that people could not understand each other. Individuals promptly ceased interacting with him and commenced living harmoniously. The reason why humanity now communicates in various languages is due to God punishing them, causing them to speak different languages out of fear.
People form cliques and are overly united.
Yes, human unity poses a threat to those in the heavens. The gods, well, they are dangerous. Indeed, there is danger. Here, I need to elaborate a bit about why humans originally spoke the same language, and what language was it. According to the Bible, humans are all descendants of Noah. I think everyone has heard the story of Noah's Ark. It is said that in the past, the gods above, in order to punish all living beings on earth, sent a great flood that submerged the entire planet. However, the only ones who survived were Noah and his family. A pair of each species in the world. This is also why God had Noah build the ark before the flood, so his whole family could survive. Why Noah?
The whole family.
Perhaps Noah conducted himself more virtuously and appeared to possess greater faith in God. Regarding Noah, his entire family was comprised of his 3 sons, and each of these sons had a wife. Noah had a wife, making it one family.
There are 8 people. How were his daughters-in-law chosen? Were they good-looking? Is that so? If you wanted to survive, you had to become his son's wife.
It had to be the daughter-in-law, that's how it was back then. So these 8 people boarded Noah's Ark, drifted for many days, and eventually, when the great flood subsided, life returned to Earth to thrive and multiply. Noah's entire family came out as well. After they emerged, they needed to find a place to live, so they walked and walked until they reached Mesopotamia. It's the earliest civilization of humanity, the birthplace of the Sumerian civilization. After Noah and his family arrived at this place, they settled there. The reason they settled in Mesopotamia was that it was a plain. Yes, other places were mountainous, so it was easier to survive on the plains. This place had no stones, only soil, so Noah's family lived and multiplied there, producing many humans, and they developed a structure similar to a city. One day, the people in the city thought, we should build a tall tower. Why build a tall tower? People believed that since God was high up in the heavens, they should also ascend. So, building a tall tower is also because everyone knows that the destruction of all people on earth was due to a great flood. By building a tall tower, you can avoid this flood, and even if God wants to punish them, he can't. They would bake the soil into bricks and refine the clay into asphalt, then use expert asphalt to stack it. What's the English word for asphalt? The term asphalt is derived from the combination of 2 Greek words. The word sport signifies to fall, while the prefix a serves as a negation, indicating never to fall. In the context of the Bible, it refers to utilizing this never-to-fall material for constructing a tower with bricks, thereby creating a structure that remains standing indefinitely. When God saw this, he thought, wow, you're building a tower, and then made it so people worldwide couldn't understand each other. As a result, those once united quickly began to distrust each other, and they couldn't.
To achieve something big together, God thought that with a language barrier, unity would be tough.
Actually, what does the Bible say is God's fundamental purpose? It is to have people live in various places all over the earth, but people are unwilling to go. Everyone gathered here and didn't want to leave, so they built a tall tower trying to reach the heavens. So he caused them to be unable to comprehend one another, and they became cautious. Subsequently, they gradually departed and dispersed across the entire world. The Bible provides a comprehensive explanation regarding the origin of human languages and the reasons behind their diversity. What language did people communicate in before God decided to punish humanity? That's an intriguing question. Before God punished humanity, all humans were descendants of Noah. Therefore, they communicated in the same language as Noah, which was Hebrew prior to the flood. Before the Great Flood, if Noah, as the only surviving human, spoke Hebrew, then logically, before this flood, they would have also spoken Hebrew.
Just a representation of one family. It cannot prove there weren't others.
Other families, no. If other families speak other languages, then no one would build a tower. No one would build a tower. Why would God punish these people?
Your reasoning appears somewhat flawed. It was subsequent to God's punishment of humanity that they aspired to construct something truly magnificent.
Actually, before that, humans also wanted to build a tall tower, and then God punished them. Nonsense. It's just a cycle like that.
A mountain comes down from the sky and there's a temple in it. Yes.
This recursive structure of the language. Correct? We've interconnected each episode together.
If he tells stories on the overpass, I can't give you money, you know?
How can one pose questions during the art of storytelling? It is not akin to a press conference. Nevertheless, when individuals come together in unity, it has the potential to be a perilous occurrence.
Threatened, yes.
Yes. So now the whole society is progressing very quickly. Technology is also developing rapidly. Actually, language barriers are not as noticeable anymore. If you can't, won't Google Translate do the job? Isn't it a portable translator? Yes. So the day when humans can communicate without barriers is coming soon.
It's so scary. God will be angry, but God said it's fine as long as we don't build a tower, right? Then I'm relieved. That's why the US doesn't dare to go to the moon again. They must have been warned.
That explains why they stopped going to the moon.
Isn't it? But God is so merciful. It took 5 or 6 times.
Warning, he didn't notice it at first. How'd you spot a footprint after a few tries?